I'm interested in the sounds that people don't want. For instance, when we play a record, we don't want to hear the surface noise, the pops and the clicks of the scratches. But those are the sounds that I'm interested in. Those are the sounds that I want to use in my music.
Christian's art is the art of unintended sound. He makes sounds that definitely weren't intended by the person who made the paintbrush, so to speak, that made the, record player. Never knew that that would come out of there.
I'm interested in the sounds I can get out of this vinyl record. What can I do? These are some of the one-of-a-kind records that I used to make. I can, cut the records and slice them into different pies. Depending on how I cut it, every crack in the record becomes a click that becomes part of the rhythm and is part of the music. I can also play a record off-center, so that will distort the sound. Everything becomes, a possibility. Even acoustically, I can make a sound with the record. All those sounds are acceptable as much as the sound that's recorded in the groove. I started getting interested in sound through performance art. The late 70s was an interesting time because punk rock was just arriving on the scene. For me, punk rock was very liberating. It allowed me to play music without having to study music. Not having an instrument, really, I started manipulating the turntables, and this would become my instrument.
Christian was using turntables before hip-hop, before they were thought of as an instrument unto themselves. It fit in with what was happening, but he was particularly unpredictable. You never knew what he was going to bring, what tools, what instruments he was going to bring, and what sounds would come out of those instruments.
I've always been interested in how sound is visualized. Video is interesting for me because it allows me to comment on that relationship between a sound and an image. Almost every movie has a phone scene, and I mixed all these phone conversations to create this sort of abstract, absurd conversation.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello? Christian's art is found sound.
Yeah.
It's lost music.
Hello?
It's the ragtag bits that are left behind he picks up and makes art from.
In the mid-'80s, I started making sculptures. For me, it's really part of the same process. They don't necessarily make sound, but they are about sound. Recent sculptures I've made are these sort of impossible instruments, like, a 25 feet long accordion, or a drum kit where the highest cymbal's at 13 feet in the air. This guitar is cast out of rubber. It's a Fender bass. So this phallic cymbal is in desperate need of Viagra, as you can tell. I've always been sort of in between being a visual artist and being a musician. You know, people in the art world don't understand that really the thinking is the same. It's part of the same process of thinking about sound, thinking how we live with sound and how it influences us, 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 and how it influences us.